In this chapter, we're going to get right into diet and supplements. Ron, what's the first thing we need to know when it comes to feeding our iguana?
Probably the most important thing is to make sure we have fresh water all the time. You want to change it daily, or occasionally the iguana will use it for a toilet. And if they do, you have to clean it out, wash it real good. Be careful, don't use bleach and disinfectants. Use liquid dishwashing detergent, scrub it good, rinse it, wash it twice if you have to. It'll be clean. So we will need good, clean water. Now, the two types of water we recommend is a spring water that has no additives like chlorine or chloramine. Some companies do that to purify the water. Use one that doesn't have those harsh chemicals. Second one would be from a lake or a pond. It's large enough that you know it's clean. Lower your jug below the surface, fill up a couple of gallon jugs, and you'll have good, clean water.
Fruits, vegetables, meat. What's the main staple of an iguana's diet?
Since we can't bring back all the different plants from the jungle, in order to get diversity and vitamins, roughage, and everything else an iguana needs, we're going to need fresh vegetables. And we found that rather than cutting them up with a knife into little squares, which have trouble going through the bends in the stomach, also a square is hard to digest, because if you think of the thickness of it, it's hard to pull the nutrients out of it. But if you have roughage like this, and you shred your food like those carrots, it's thin. The iguana can extract the very things that it needs. We recommend using a cheese grater like this.
Okay, so what are the main vegetables that we're going to encourage?
Before I do that, remember, fruit should be 10% of the total diet or less. Now with the vegetables, here's what we like. We like the romaine lettuce. That's number one. Number two, shredded squash over the cheese grater. It can be summer squash, acorn squash, crookneck squash, yellow squash, zucchini, as long as there is some squash. Then we do carrots. Any type of carrot will be fine. The fourth item is peas. On a larger iguana, they'll eat the peas just the way they are. On the baby, we sometimes have to squish one or two and put it on top of the pile. If it's a bigger iguana, they'll take them the way it is. And if it's a larger iguana, 3 feet or more, they enjoy the peas in their natural pod. They're very tasty to them. But a baby would have a hard time eating that. And when we combine these different items, then what we're going to end up with is this right here. And sometimes the iguana is going to go for just one thing or the other. Or sometimes they'll even develop a favorite, like the carrots, and they won't touch anything else. When they do that, we homogenize or mix it all in. And don't forget, you need to add supplements. Baby iguanas need lots of calcium. And it can't be just any kind of calcium. It has to be a phosphorus-free calcium, or we call it calcium carbonate, and it's in the powdered form. You would generously sprinkle it on every single day so they get their calcium, because iguanas grow quite rapidly. A baby with a tail this big will be this big next year. And they need lots of calcium. They also need calcium in order for the body to form the correct 2 parts calcium, 1 part phosphorus molecule in the stomach, so the vitamin D3 can take it up and make it available. So we use the powdered calcium.
Ron, what's this stuff?
It's a multiple vitamin, mineral, trace element, and amino acid supplement. The amino acids help build the protein to make muscle. The vitamins they need, especially E and C and A. And be sure to use a formula that uses the beta-carotene form of A. Too much vitamin A can become toxic to an iguana, so we don't want to overdo it, and the way not to do it is to use the proper supplement where they use a beta-carotene source. And that way the iguana can manufacture the amount of vitamin A that it needs. Vitamin E and vitamin C are also important to a growing iguana.